Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful ripple skirt or chevron skirt. So this ripple stitch is worked vertically and it creates a very beautiful effect, as you have seen at the beginning of the video. And for the materials, you will need yarn. The yarn that I'm using is Robin. It is a lightweight fingering weight yarn. So I'll be doubling my strand, but if you have DK weight yarn, then you don't have to double your strand, just use one strand. So for the yarn, I used about 2,000 yards of the dark purple, 2,000 of the light purple, which is lilac, and then around 500 yards of white. So that's all that you will need. And remember, I am doubling my strand, so whatever amount that I have mentioned for these colors, just divide it by 2 if you are using a single strand for yourself. And yeah, I am also using a 4mm crochet hook. A measuring tape is a must, and then a darning needle. This is optional because I ended up joining using a crochet hook, but this I will show you how to use it when it comes to joining the piece together. And then you'll also need an elastic strand. So this is mine, my elastic strand, in order to gather the waistline to be well fitted around the waist. And yeah, I think that's basically it. If you would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops, and you can find all the links in the description box below. And in this image, the skirt is paired with the mesh detail halter top that already has a tutorial as well as a written pattern on all my online shops. So find all the links in the description box and let's begin on the tutorial. Alright guys, so for demonstration purposes, I'll be starting off with my white color, but for the actual piece, I actually started with the dark purple, but I figured when I use this, you may not be able to see the stitches clearly, so I'll be demonstrating first with the white so that we get the hang of the stitch, and then later on we shall start switching colors. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. You're going to twist your yarn like this, and then insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through, and then pull on the tail. So that's our slip knot. Alright, so for demonstration purposes of the stitch, I will be starting with a total of 60 chains just to demonstrate the stitch, because the skirt is really long and it won't be able to be covered on this frame. So I'll be starting with a chain of 60. So yarn over, pull through, that's 1 chain, 2 chains, 3 chains, 4 chains. Your chain should be a multiple of 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have my 60 chains here, and that is a multiple of 15. For my actual skirt, I actually started with a total of 225 chains, which was really long because we work this pattern lengthwise. So that turned out really long, and if you don't want a really long skirt, or if you're not as tall, then you're going to subtract 15 chains depending on your height. But if you're really tall, 225 is the recommended number, or plus 15. Then if you're just medium height, not so short, not so tall, you'll go for 210 chains. But if you're just that normal height, then you're going to do 195 chains. So just do multiples of 15. And from here, you're going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook. So the first chain 2 of the row doesn't count as a stitch. Keep that in mind. So you're going to yarn over, skip over the first 2 chains, and then into the 3rd chain from the hook, you're going to place a double crochet. So that counts as 1 double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 chains. So this is the 2nd one, the 3rd, the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So we want a total of 6 double crochets without counting the chain 2 at the beginning as one of the stitches. So right now we have a total of 6 double crochets. and then we are going to create our peak. You're going to yarn over, go into the next chain with a double crochet, chain 2, and then into the same exact chain you're going to go in there with a double crochet. So we've created a peak. This pattern involves peaks and valleys, so we're going to go into each of the next 6 chains with 1 double crochet. So into the next chain you're going to place a double crochet into the next, double crochet into the next. So far that is a total of 3. After the peak, which comprises of a V-stitch, we have 1, 2, 3, and we want a total of 6 double crochets. So 4, 5, and 6. And then from here we are going to create our valley. To create the valley, you're going to just skip over 2 chains, and then into the next 6 chains you're going to place double crochet, 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like that. So we've created a valley, and as you can see, your work should be shaping itself. So this is going to create the chevron or the ripple effect of our piece. So after your 6 double crochets here, you're going to go into the next chain and we're going to create a peak. So just like we did here, we're going to go into the next chain with 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact chain. So that will create a peak. And then we're going to go into each of the next 6 chains with 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we've just created our second peak, as you can see here. Now it's time for us to create a valley. So to do that, you're going to just skip over 2 chains and then double crochet into the next chain. And then continue to double crochet until you have a total of 6 double crochets after the valley. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have our 6 double crochets after the valley, as you can see here, and that's the repeat. You're going to keep creating peaks and valleys, and just to cross check, every after a space you should be having a total of 7 double crochets. That's how to cross check this pattern. So you have a space here and a space here. In between the 2 spaces you should be having a total of 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So randomly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now it's time for us to create our next peak. We're going to just keep working that pattern. So into the next chain you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same chain, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 chains. So after this, you create a valley by skipping over 2 chains and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 chains. Alright, so we are coming to the end of the row. My sample is quite small, but yours should be bigger than this. From here you're going to create a peak by placing 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact chain. So you should be left with a total of 6 chains. And to do this, you're going to double crochet once in each and every chain left on your row. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that marks the end of row 1. As you can see here, that marks the end of row 1. My sample is just perfect for demonstration because it can be covered in this frame. So that marks the end of row 1. Alright, so we're going on to row 2, and this is going to be our repeat row. So you're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and turn your work. After your chain of 2, you're going to go into the next stitch, which is this one. You're going to place a double crochet and keep double crocheting into each of the next stitches. So far we have a chain of 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. After your 6 double crochets, you're going to go into the chain 2, and you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. So we've created a peak in the peak of the previous row. After this, you're going to go into each of the next stitches with 1 double crochet, actually each of the next 6 stitches. So after the V stitch here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. After your 6 double crochets, that should bring you to 1 stitch to the valley, but we have to maintain the valley, so we're going to prepare for a double crochet and skip over the next 2 stitches, this one on this side and 1 on this side, and then you're going to go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet. So that means the valley will be maintained just as we maintained the peak. So you skip over 2 stitches here, the one on this side and the other side of this valley, and then double crochet into the next stitch and double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that should make a total of 6 double crochets after the valley. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So after this, you're going to create a peak. So into the chain 2 space, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact chain 2 space, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that should bring us to 1 stitch before the valley, as you can see. So just as we did here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet, skip over the stitch before the valley and the stitch after the valley, and then go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet. So we've just created our next valley, and we are going to keep repeating this all the way across until towards the end of the row, where I'll show you how to wind up the row. Alright, so we're coming towards the end of the row, and just to cross check, as I had mentioned earlier on, make sure in between each space, each peak and each valley, there are 7 double crochets, excluding this side. Just go space and space, there should be 7 stitches in between, space and space, 7 stitches in between, space and space, 7 stitches. Just keep cross checking like that. And then we're coming to the end of the row, and we've placed our last peak, so we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we're going to do something different towards the end of the row. So in these 2 stitches, we're going to do a 2 double crochet together stitch. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the second last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, insert your hook into the last double crochet, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all. So we've just placed a double crochet together stitch into the last 2 stitches. Remember, the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, so we don't consider it. So that marks the end of our row 2, and you can see the peaks and valleys. So I'm going to demonstrate that one more time, and then we shall learn how to switch colors in case you want to switch. So you're going to make your chain of 2 and turn your work. So this row is going to resemble the previous row, just in case you're not going to change your colors. So chain 2, turn, and you're going to go into the next stitch, not in the very first stitch, into the next stitch, which is this one, and you're going to place 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then you're going to go into the peak with 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So just like that, we repeat row 2 again and again until we get to the point where we have to switch colors, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. Let me just go ahead and repeat the same exact instructions for row 2 on camera, so that in case you are confused, you can watch what I'm doing, and it can help guide you through this row. So I'm coming to the end of the row, and I'm placing a double crochet until I have 2 stitches left on my row, not counting the chain 2 on the edge as a stitch. So we have this stitch and this stitch, and you'll place a double crochet together stitch into the last 2 stitches just to join them together. So that marks the end of row 3. So I'm going to go ahead and work some more rows of white. I want a total of 5 rows of white, and then I'll come and show you how to switch colors. Alright guys, I'm coming to the end of my 5th row. Thank God the yarn was enough, because it was actually running out. I didn't think that the white was going to be enough for this demonstration for the 5th row, but it has been enough. So I am through with 5 rows, and from here when you're going to switch colors, I prefer to just chain one and cut my yarn. So you're going to get your pair of scissors and cut your yarn and then pull through, and you're going to introduce your next color. For me, that is going to be purple, the same purple that I used for the actual skirt. This is the deep purple, and then I also used lilac, but I just want to demonstrate when you're switching colors what you're supposed to do. And you're going to attach your yarn in this very first stitch, that one, just like that, and then you're going to make your chain of 2, and then from here we are going to just repeat row 2. So after your chain of 2, you're going to go into each of the next 6 stitches with 1 double crochet, and then into the chain 2 space of the peak, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. So you can see why I didn't demonstrate the stitch with the dark purple, because it would literally be hard for you to see the stitches that I'm working with. And thank goodness I realized that earlier on, because if I had seen this later on, then I would have to repeat the whole tutorial so that we can see the stitches that we are working with. So we're just repeating row 2 again and again until we get the thickness of the panel that we want. So for me, when it comes to this part, I'm going to place my work like this because my rows are running vertically, and I'm going to keep working until this length here is my hip circumference when slightly stretched or fully stretched. I want this to be a body hugging skirt. So far I have a total of 3.5 inches and I want a total of 40 inches. So I'm going to keep working this until I get my 40 inches, and then we shall introduce the actual piece, as you'll see in my next clip. Just keep working again and again and keep switching the colors the way you want until you get the base of your skirt to be your hip circumference when stretched. Alright guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead to do some more rows and I kept switching colors, and this is the same exact scheme that I did for my actual skirt. I did 5 rows of the first color, 2 rows of the next, 1 row of the next, 2 rows of the next, which brings us to 10 rows. So this was the pattern: 5 2 1 2, 5 2 1 2, 5 2 1 2, and I kept repeating the colors for the actual skirt until I got a total of 60 rows. So this is okay guys, for the actual skirt, this was the color combination that I chose. Let me see the sample. So you can see this. So instead of dark purple, we've done white, and instead of lilac, we've done the dark purple. Instead of white, we've done the light purple, and then instead of the lilac, we've done the dark purple. So this was the pattern that I used for the actual skirt, and I kept working until I had a total of 60 rows, because that's what gave me my intended hip circumference when stretched. So since I have folded it over, I should be able to get 20 inches when slightly stretched. So I don't want it to overstretch to distort the pattern of the ripple. So I decided to go for the slight stretch to get half of my hip circumference when folded into half. So I want to keep the whole piece in frame, but it should be laid out like very flat and should be able to stretch to your hip circumference, and for me that is 40 inches. So I folded it over and I've been able to attach using stitch markers. That's why I'm considering half hip circumference, which is 20 inches. So let me go back to our demonstration. Once you get your hip circumference when slightly stretched here, you're going to keep working until you get your hip circumference, which is supposed to be 40 inches for my case. And once you get there, you're going to just fold over your work like this. And the peak here is going to attach to a valley here. So you're going to just fold it over like this. The peaks are going to meet the valleys, and then these peaks will be folded over like this. And we're going to start attaching in order to create a tube-like structure so that we can create a round or a functional piece. So we're going to get our darning needle. All right, so get your darning needle and then get one of the colors on the edge. So for me, for demonstration purposes, I'm still demonstrating using this so that we don't suffer with the bigger piece. So you're going to get one of the colors on the edge. So for me, I have white and purple. So those are the options that you have to join. So I've decided to go with white. And you're going to start joining stitch to stitch. So join stitch to stitch. Remember, the chain 1 doesn't, the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, so we want to join it. You're going to start joining all the 7 double crochets. All right, so start joining all the 7 double crochets. This is the 4th, 5th, 6th, and this is the 7th. So all your 7 double crochets have been joined, and this is going to be the seam line at the back of our work. I don't know if it will be visible, but I hope not. So after your 7, you're going to go into the chain 2 space of the peak and the space of the valley on this side, and then attach with 1 stitch, only 1 joining, and then go back to the stitches, the 7 stitches, 1, 2. You're going to keep joining all the way down, and you're going to create something like this. It's going to be a little bit seamless. As you join, you keep pulling on the joining strand so that we create a seamless look. So just keep joining all the way down the skirt. So this is our skirt for now, for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for my actual skirt, and then I'll show you what I'll have in the end. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention, you can even use actual stitches. If you feel like the darning needle is not giving you exactly what you want, just make sure you're on the wrong side of your work, and you're going to start joining using single crochet stitches. That will create a bump on the wrong side of the work, but on the right side of the work, that should give us something very neat. So I think I'm going to go with the approach of the crochet hook, the single crochet, and I join all the pieces together, and then I'll come back and show you how the seam line looks like. Alright, so I went ahead to use stitch markers, but this is totally optional. I'm going to start joining my stitches together. So we are literally joining the stitches into the foundation chain. Remember where we started our foundation chain? That's what we are joining to. Alright, so into the peak and into the space of the valley, just like that. And you're going to have something like this. This will be the wrong side, but when it comes to the right side, you're going to have something very neat on this side. So just keep going all the way down. So this is going to take a while because I have so many stitches. Remember, my starting chain was 225, so I'm going to have so many stitches to deal with before I get done with this part. But let me just go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back when I am through with the joining part. Alright guys, I'm through with all the stitch markers. I've managed to remove all the stitch markers that were on the skirt, and let's see what we have right now. This is our seam line for the skirt. I'm glad I went with this approach because I'm very sure the skirt is secure enough, and you can see how the seam line has a wavy design, a wavy pattern, and it has run all the way from the top of the skirt down to the base of the skirt. So you can see why I didn't use the actual skirt to demonstrate everything, because everything would be messy because the piece is really huge. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through, and then the next thing that you're going to do is to weave in all your ends. You're going to have literally 2 colors at every point where you introduced a new color. So what I want to do is to just make a double knot at those points where I was introducing a new color, and then cut off the excess yarn. Or you can even go ahead and weave in the tails using a darning needle. It's really up to you. You can do whatever suits you or whatever you prefer. But for me, I'm going to go for this approach. I'm going to tie a double knot at every point where we introduce a new color, both at the base of the skirt and at the top of the skirt. Right, after cleaning up the top edge of the skirt, you're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing at the bottom of the skirt. And then we're going to do something else. Don't mind this protrusion here. It was just a small mistake that I made at the beginning of the pattern that I later corrected. So we are going to have a flat edge at the top of the skirt here, and we're going to get an elastic strand in order to get together the waistline of our skirt. All right, so this is my elastic strand, and I want to measure a total of 6 inches less of my waistline circumference. So the waistline that I'm considering for this skirt is 28 inches. So 28 minus 6 is 22. So I'm going to measure 22 inches of this elastic strand without stretching it. So here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut about 2 inches away to accommodate, to cater for the knot that I'm going to tie in order to join the elastic strand into a round. So I'm going to just tie it 2 times, just like this. And now I'm going to have something like this. You can see it's really small, but it is elastic. It can even go beyond the hip circumference. So from here you're going to get your hook and your skirt. So since my skirt turned out quite long, I would have wished to make a waistband of the one that creates a ribbing, but I'm not going to do that because my skirt ended up really long. So I'm going to just do a kind of gather using single crochet stitch, so that this skirt doesn't get any longer than it already is. So we're going to go ahead and choose any color of your choice in this piece in order to create a boundary for our skirt. So you're going to turn your work so that let me see where, yeah, actually this is the wrong side of the work. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to the right side where we don't have that bump of the single crochet joining. You're going to flip it over to the right side, and you can see how neat the seam line is. This is where the seam line of the single crochet stitch that we've been working is. So it creates a wavy pattern and you can't actually tell that there's a seam line at this point, which is perfect. So you're going to get your hook and your elastic strand and your yarn, and we're going to place 2 single crochets into each and every row while working over the elastic strand. So we're going to start from this point where we have our joining, attach your yarn, and then grab your elastic strand. It's going to go all the way around the skirt opening to gather our skirt in order to fit perfectly well around the waist. So 2 single crochets in each and every row of the skirt while working around the elastic strand. So you can see what I'm doing right now. I'm going into each and every row with 2 single crochets. So for now, the waistband, the waist circumference is still big, but by the end of this round, it should be able to gather in order to create a perfect fitting for our skirt, as you can see in the image on the thumbnail of this video. So keep working around, and when you feel like you're running out of the elastic strand, you're going to pull on it slightly. Don't over pull on it, just keep slightly pulling on it so that it can gather the waistband together. So 2 single crochets in each and every row of the skirt. So since I had a total of 60 rows, my row is going to be 120 stitches all together, because I'm placing 2 single crochets in each and every row, and I have a total of 60 rows for my skirt. Keep pulling on the elastic strand so that it can start gathering the skirt in order to create a shaping for it. Alright, so we've made it all the way around the waistline opening, and I'm going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet of the round, chain 1, and cut your yarn. Now you're going to turn your work to the back and get rid of the loose ends as well as the excess elastic strand here. So cut off the excess and then get rid of the loose ends. And that is basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to check out the written pattern, and thanks for sitting through this long tutorial. I know it hasn't been very long because I have used a demonstration, but this is how our skirt turned out. Very beautiful, very modest. For those who are looking for modest crochet patterns, the crochet top pattern is also available on all my online shops, as well as the tutorial, as you can see on the screen. So after this video, make sure you check it out so that you can have a matching set. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.